so what's the deal? And he was like, oh man, that film, we don't want it in our festival. It's not, it's was too graphic and crazy. And, and so I think he saw the first 30 minutes and thought it was going to be a certain type of film. And then it turned out to be something completely different, but they'd already told me that it could be in it and we'd already made arrangements. So they had to show it.
Oh, good.
So in order to punish us, because they didn't want to show it, they showed it as the last film in their entire festival. So it was on Sunday at like 5:00, and they screened it. Before it came on, they allowed one of these, like some local film club, to show a short that they had made about an old guy with Alzheimer's disease walking around a park quoting Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
And so it is like not a horror film, nothing completely. And I don't know who made it. And I think he was a friend of whoever was a festival programmer or something, but it was somewhere older, because the audience for that screening suddenly started to fill up with a bunch of older people. And when I mean older, I'm talking 60 and up.
Oh.
Right? So I'm like, wow, there's a lot of gray-haired people here for our screening. Like, I was like, I didn't think our film would appeal to that audience. And then I see why, because this fucking Abraham Lincoln thing was going on. So I was like, oh, that's why they're here. So of course, older people, once they get out of the house, they're in no hurry to rush back home. That's so they're true. Like, oh, let's watch this next film.
Surprise!
Then, yes. Oh my God. After the film was done, I got up and, they do like, how you get up and you can talk to the audience. I look out at that crowd and they look like they had just been through a war. They had the blank stare, not one question. Like, people just looked at me. It was so awkward. It was like dead silence. Like, anybody got any questions? It's crickets. These people won't even make eye contact. Like, they're just so offended by what they just saw.
Poor sports.
I know. And so then once I got outside, and then people would come up to me, hey, so my girlfriend wanted me to tell you she really liked the movie. That's her over there. Anyways, congratulations. And then they walk up, like, acknowledging that they liked the film. But the Incisor guys or whatever, they loved it.
That's a great film. Actually, I'm gonna have to post that one. I didn't write anything about it because I was like, oh, let me watch a few more other things that he's done. I was so enthralled, I forgot to write anything down. I'm gonna have to watch it again so I can post it. That was a good ass movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie. I think one of the comments was, I should be killed before I'm allowed to make another film, I believe.
Ridiculous.
One of my fans from Amazon, apparently.
Oh, Amazon. I have problems with Amazon. Anytime there's terrible reviews on Amazon like that, I purposely watch the movie and then I tell everybody else to watch it, because those people, they are not reviewing the movie. They have this whole idea in their mind of what the movie should be. And then when it's not that, then 1 star. And that's bull. What? That's not a review. And telling people they should die over a movie is dumb. So those are the ones that I end up liking, because screw those people.
Yeah, that's why So obviously I put that in all the marketing material.
There you go.
Like, yeah, like this. And there's this one guy, he was a film reviewer in the UK, which they showed it on their horror channel. But he said that buddy his told him, hey man, you got to watch this film, and he was like, I'm tired of watching these low budget films, and he was like, no, I'm serious, you got to watch this film. So he was like, okay. And he said he was just like screaming into his pillow at times, and just completely freaked out by it and where it was going, and he couldn't believe it. And he was
awesome.
and he was like, that was so much fun, it was such a ride, and everything. And I was like, well, thank you.
As graphic as that movie was, it wasn't that graphic. It was like the appearance of being much more graphic than it actually was. That was very well done.
My thought process on it was that I was feeling like a lot of these films where they glorify the serial killer stuff, and I was like, he's still a killer. Right. There is a dark side to death that we tend to over. So that's why the first part of the film kind of makes it seem like we're taking light. And then by the second part, where you really grasp like the severity of what this girl's doing,
right?
And how personalized it becomes.
Right. It is so good. And
And
it's broken up really well by, who is that? Donnie? He's
yes,
so
Donnie.
crass and terrible.
Yeah.
But you need him to break it up because it's so heavy. And
Yeah.
then this idiot comes out being horrible and disgusting. I'm like, I like this guy. This is great.
Yeah, he does a podcast called Keith and the Girl. And they've been doing podcasts since probably 2000 and I think 2003 maybe. Yeah, they were some of the early, like one of the first podcasts I'd ever heard when it first started going. Him and his friend were doing it, and they've been doing it out of New York since. And yeah, so they've got a really, really big following. And so I'd contacted him because I'd heard him on the thing, and I was like, hey, you should come down here and be in this film. And he's like, I'd love to be an actor. And then he gets there, and he would just eat that shit up, and he was just having so much fun.
You could tell, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, who is this guy? He's not acting. Who
No,
is this guy?
He's not.
That was great.
You quickly realized, like, that's him. He is Donnie.
Yep, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely want to review that one. You know, I know they're going to immediately be turned off by the cinematography. But listen, just watch it. Just let it pour over you. That's a good movie. And then, you know, moments like you shit in your trunk. There's just moments. There's gems all over the place.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. Like, to me, it felt like a comedy. And then people were like, I don't know, man, that thing's so horrible. Like, you didn't get that joke? Like, I thought that was great. That was one of my favorites.
Right?
Yeah.
And then when he answered the phone and he said, this is Rick, I was like, all right, but that's okay. It was still funny. Because I was like, who's Rick? But it's fine.
His accent. That's what that's the problem.
Right.
He's the lead guy was from Sweden.
Yeah.
So I'd met him on another project, and where this director was, I went over there to work on this guy's project as a cinematographer, and the director completely lost his mind and just fell apart. Like, I think he had like a panic attack and a mental breakdown, and he wasn't showing up on set. He wasn't wanting to shoot anything. He wouldn't tell us what he needed, what we were supposed to be shooting. He wouldn't give us a script. He kept saying that it was more of an improv thing, but then he wouldn't tell us what we were improving. And so I worked with those actors, and then afterwards we were like, gosh, I feel like we could have done something really cool. It sucks that we didn't. He was like, well, if you ever do anything else, let me know. And so once I got this project going, I got him, and you know, so he's a pretty well-known actor in Sweden.
He was good.
And so he came over to do it, and so he was trying to hide his accent. So sometimes what you're hearing is every now and again, because we were working such long hours, he would get super tired, and his accent would start to come out.
That's all right. So, he was really good.
I was like, yeah, he was really good. He was really strong.
Yeah. And Tara, the lady who played Tara, she was a writer on the 47 Hours to Live, right?
Yes. She played the girl in the nightclub.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah. And then she also was a writer with me on the comedy that we did, The High Schooler's Guide to College Parties.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Which was another overly ambitious project that got out of hand without any money. And I just feel like movies should have a lot of locations.
Right.
You know, I feel trapped if I'm in one spot for too long. Right. But unfortunately, when you're filming, moving locations is a big deal. Yeah. And so when you write it, it seems really easy. And then when you're on production, and you're like, hey man, we got to get out of here. We've got to move. And you're like, you got 5 more minutes, and then we got to move because we got to set up in another place. You're like, we just got here. Like, what's going on? Yeah. And that one was, you know, so that was another one that was pretty fun. My entire crew walked out on me on the first night of that project.
Oh.
So, because they were like, this is never going to happen. There's no way you're going to film this. You're going to finish this film. And, you know, there's nothing we can't do. It's going to fail, and we're done. And they just left. Oh. And they left me with an entire grip truck unloaded on the like 15th floor of a high-rise building. And so
how to quit. Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, oh shit. But luckily got on the phone, found the right people, replaced them, figured out how to put all the equipment back in the grip truck. And we started the next day, and things went much smoother. The new crew was much cooler and much more fun to work with. And those guys were just assholes, which was a big lesson. It's like, if you have any negativity on the set, squash it, get rid of it, because, you know, if it's negativity early on, man, by day 15, expect it to just be a complete nightmare.
Makes sense.
You know, so as soon as somebody seems like they got attitude or they're giving you trouble, you gotta get rid of them as soon as possible. Because even if they're really good, they're just gonna it's going to poison the entire set.
Yeah, makes sense.
You know, imagine going on a road trip with somebody who's complaining the whole time.
Oh,
Like, it just brings down the entire scene. So, you know, once you get the right people around you, then anything's possible. But if you have a bunch of people, it's like, we can't do that. That's not how it's done. We can't do that. That's impossible.
Yeah.
You know, then you're going to spend half your time just arguing when it could have been already done.
Right.
Which brings us to 47 hours.
Yeah.
Which was probably the toughest production I did, and it had the most money.
I believe it. Yeah.
But we were dealing with a producer who was just fucking crazy, and would show up on set just screaming, "What the fuck's going on? Why the what? What page are you on? You're not gonna fucking. I'm gonna fire you. I'm gonna replace you." You're just like, oh, that's a good way to get everybody's morale up.
Right. My God.
Tell everybody, you know, we're all fucking gonna, you know, losers.